Those of you who've been on the channel for a decent amount of time may remember I made a video a while back talking about how Anaak is most likely from the Lo Po Bia family. And now that we've had more information about the Lo Po Bia family and about Traumarai himself, I wanted to discuss this theory once again, especially for those of you who didn't see my previous video, because I think there's a lot to say here. So yes, my theory is that Anaak is in some way related to the Lo Po Bia family. That's not to say Lo Po Bia Anaak is her true name or anything of the sort. However, we know the Lo Po Bia family deals with animals, and obviously Anaak is from a lizard race. Now, as far as I know, we've never seen another lizard character in the story. Aside from Anaak and her mother, Barrow used to have a tail, and for some reason SIU cut that. I don't know what that was about. But in our story, there isn't another lizard species. In Towers and Gods there is, but you gotta watch that if you want to know more. Now that alone isn't that strange, right? Like, Tower of God has a lot of animalistic characters. However, if you notice, a lot of the animalistic characters that we're meeting now are from the Lo Po Bia family. And while some of them, like the Windbird branch or the family with Dekoko, they don't have wings or anything like that. It's not like they're part animal, they're just devoted to like that animal, like Elaine in the Wolf branch. But some of them are legit animals. Obviously the canines and the felines, but they're kind of a special case, you could argue, because most likely the felines were experiments, just like the canines were, even though that's not confirmed. But there is a branch that is straight up part of that animal. The spider branch. The spider branch. They're straight up spiders. Like, if you look at White Widow, whatever, White Garment Widow, she is a giant spider. Okay, she's part animal and she's Lo Po Bia. The felines, same thing, right, whatever. So it's clear that there is a connection between animalistic species and the Lo Po Bia family, because the Lo Po Bia family, their whole thing is dealing with animals. The leader of the Lo Po Bia family, Traumarai, he can control any animal, and most humans even, according to the information that we have. The strange part is there are many people in the tower that show animalistic traits as well. And it seems odd that some of them are connected to the Lo Po Bia family, while the others would just have no relation whatsoever. So for example, we were introduced to two new characters in the newest chapter. Amari and Yorari, I think are their names. I could be butchering that possibly. But they're a part of the snake branch of the family. At least I assume they are. They deal with snakes, right? The leader of the family talks through snakes and he guides his son. So there is a snake branch, we can assume, right? But we know of some snake people in the tower. The guy who tried to kill Kuhn near the Hand of Arlen was a snake person. And there was another snake person at the workshop battle who was one of the leaders of the gambling sort of side of the game. So it's odd that there are snake people, like straight up people with snake bodies in the tower, and they have no relation to the snake branch of the Lo Po Bia family. The leader of the family that deals with the animals, and they have a whole branch of the family dedicated to that animal. Like, did these people just always exist in the tower? Or is there some kind of purpose behind why they are animalistic? Even if you look at Nanatona, who isn't an official Lo Po Bia, he's a mouse person who's working for the Lo Po Bia family? Like, why? If there's no connection between mouse people and Lo Po Bia, then why is Nanatona working for them? My biggest piece of evidence here is Yasracha himself and the mind control that he can do. Apparently, we're told that he can only control canines, which makes sense because canines and felines and Lo Po Bia, whatever, okay? But the weird thing is, that's not true. We saw him controlling someone else, and that someone else wasn't a random human, and it wasn't a canine. It was another animalistic species. Ra, a goat man. Now, unless there's a branch of the family that deals with goats and that's why, which maybe there is, but it just seems odd that he can control Ra as well, who isn't a canine. I think the reason that he can is because all of the animalistic peoples, the felines, the canines, the lizard people, whatever, I think they're all connected. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense. Otherwise, Yasracha could control anyone he wanted. So I believe Yasracha could control Ra. He can control Nanatona if he wants to. And maybe there's even a connection between him and Anaak. Another interesting thing is Xia Xia, the rabbit-eared people, right? The rabbit-eared people, they are a specific race in the tower that has a goal. They want to raise money for their family. Now, what's odd about this is that we're shown two of these characters, right? Xia Xia and the rabbit-eared regular that Bomb fought against and absolutely destroyed. They both were in it for money. So clearly, SIU is telling us there's a purpose behind these characters. We're told it's for their family. Okay, sure. What is going on? What if the rabbit-eared race or the goats or whatever, they used to be prominent members of the Lo Po Bia family 20,000 years ago, you know, and eventually they fell out of power. Kind of like how the wolf branch was starting to, and how the monkey branch, we're told from Didiano, ended up falling out of power and had to merge with another family. Like, there's so many examples of family branches falling out of power. What if the same could be said for these other families? And so, they're in debt, kind of like how Elaine was in debt. And so the family has to raise money. I see a lot of connections here. Lo Po Bia seems to have a connection to families falling out of power and getting into debt. And I think Xia Xia's family could be the same thing. And if you need a reminder, like, there are a ton of animalistic people in the tower. If you look at Nia Nia has canine ears. Nia could very well have been a canine. Gia Tang, Hongzhou, and Beck Philip Poker from the first floor are all bird people. They don't just have wings, they're straight up bird people. You know, like, what's going on there? Vivi Olga, who's from the workshop battle, is a feline, straight up. No, he's not, you know, maybe he's not a feline, right? But he's a cat. He's a cat with a sword. Like, what? You have Kong, who's like a seal guy, whatever, right? The snake people that I mentioned before. And you also have Monkey Man. Straight up Monkey Man! Monkey Man could have been connected to the monkey branch that Didiano was talking about that fell out of power, right? But maybe like he inherited more of the rabbit side, or the monkey side than the human side. Like, it seems like Lo Po Bia likes to do experiments, he likes to work with the workshop. It's totally within the realm of possibility that this is all connected. Otherwise, it just seems weird that you have all these branch families, and then there's also people with these parts to their body, and it's just a coincidence that they're the same. So my question is, how are these people even created? Like, how did the spider branch come into being, right? Because their ancestor is Traumarai. Does Traumarai have animalistic traits to himself? Maybe he does, and maybe he's a shapeshifter. Maybe this is how he's able to control people, how he's able to control animals. Perhaps he's a shapeshifter and he's able to change into various shapes, and that's how this DNA was created. Because also, someone pointed this out, if you look at the throne he's sitting on in the room, it looks like a DNA strand. If anyone, any leader of a family is capable of doing this, it's gotta be Traumarai. You know, the Lo Po Bia family? It's got to be. There's clearly some kind of thing going on with Traumarai and all these branches and how they're different. They're not regular people, you know? Some of them look like regular people, but they're all connected to animals. Something's going on. Whether it's crossbreeding or experimentation or both or shapeshifting, right? Something's going on, and I just wanted to throw that out there, that if you look at everything, right, it's clear that Yasracha can control other people aside from canines and felines, which means there's a connection. And if Tu-Ra, a goat person, is connected to Yasracha, why wouldn't the other snake people we saw be connected to the snake branch of the family? And why wouldn't Anaak be connected and Xia Xia be connected? Now, I'm not saying they're Lo Po Bia, but they could have Lo Po Bia blood, or if you trace their lineage all the way back, there could be a connection. My final piece of evidence, and maybe this doesn't make a lot of sense, is Lo Po Bia Ren. Because for some reason, Ren himself was so specifically focused on taking down Anaak. Why? Why would he do, like, why was there some kind of, you know, drive for him to do that? He was working for Jihad's army, but even outside of that, we see panels later, I'll try to find them, where we see that, like, the family has to be careful, the Lo Po Bia family, because Ren could be a liability, but Anaak is a liability, and it's like, why? What's going on here? Why is Ren, and we also know Ren was the one who killed her mother, apparently, so, like, what? Why Ren, of all people? You know, it's not like Ren's the strongest ranker ever. Maybe he felt some kind of connection. Maybe the family is the one who told Jihad, hey, can we have our dude, like, work to do this? Like, maybe he knew of this secret. I don't know. I'm throwing it out there. There's not a lot of evidence, but it's still something to point out that a Lo Po Bia, the first antagonist of the series, was someone who was hunting down Anaak. So overall, there's a lot of potential here with all the different branches, all the animalistic people. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And subscribe if you want to see more Tower of God content tomorrow. Towers and Gods episode 9 goes live. I'm so happy you all enjoyed the last episode because I love this series. It's getting exciting. There's a killer in the Ranker group, and it's gonna be fun figuring out who it is. So join us if you want to see that. And with that being said, I will see you in the next Tower of God theory video. Take care.